Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Fresh Perspective with Jeff Charles, where we prefer truth over narrative and principles over politics. Welcome on back. And today we're going to go into a topic that Democrats might not want to talk about. And what I'm going to talk about is why men across all races seem to be steering clear of Kamala Harris in the voting booth. So, my friend, who also happens to be the editor of Newsweek Opinion and an author, Batya Ungar Sargon, she did a video where she hit the nail on the head for the reasons why Kamala Harris is having trouble getting males to vote for her. So go ahead and grab your popcorn and let's get on into it. So before we get into it, just to remind you, I need you to like this, share it with your friends, and also subscribe if you haven't already. Think of it as the easiest vote you'll ever cast. There's no long lines, there's no ID required. So, Black people, you can subscribe. You don't need your ID because apparently we can't get IDs. And you won't have to listen to someone trying to convince you that you're a horrible person for not doing it. If you don't subscribe, you're not a horrible person, but you are missing out on some major stuff in your life. So hit me up, subscribe. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about Vice President Kamala Harris and her problem with male voters. Now, to be fair, she also has an issue with women voters too, but she is doing better among women. And in a second, you're going to see why. So Batya, she did a video for the Free Press recently, and I'm going to play a clip of it in a little bit. But she talked about how Harris is underperforming with men by as much as 16 percentage points compared to her opponent, former President Donald Trump. And that's not just with white working class dudes, the usual suspects for the Democrats' losses, but it's also among Black and Hispanic men, especially younger Black and Hispanic men. Now, if you're a Democrat strategist, this is where you should be hitting the panic button. But instead, the left is doing what they always do with numbers like this. They cry sexism, right? So I read an article from The Guardian, and there's also other left-wing outlets who are out here blaming Harris's dismal polling numbers among men on, you guessed it, misogyny. Because when men don't like your candidate, what better way to win them over than by calling them sexist, right? So you guys might also remember about a week ago, former President Barack Obama also chimed in, and he was lecturing specifically Black men about not wanting to support Harris, saying, "Oh, well, you don't want a woman in a position of leadership." And here's the thing: that's not what's it. That's not what the problem is, and that's what Batya points out. It isn't about misogyny as much as Democrats want it to be. It's about messaging. Batya made an excellent point that Harris's campaign isn't necessarily designed to appeal to men much at all. It's really designed and tailored to women, specifically college educated women. There was even a video, yes, an actual campaign video where there were a bunch of men talking about supporting a woman for president and how that makes them super masculine and tough because they're secure enough to vote for a woman. It was like the Democrats' version of that ridiculous Gillette ad a while ago. The thing is, again, it's not about winning over men. It was about reassuring women that men voting for Harris is okay somehow. Like basically, it was an appeal to men, but not like masculine men. It was more for like I hate to use this term, but more feminine soy boy type of men. Like, oh yeah, I can support women because I'm woke and I'm feminist and I believe in women and yada yada yada. But here's the thing: men, whether they're Black, white, Hispanic, purple, or otherwise, they're not buying what Harris is selling because she's not really selling to them. Now, I will be fair. Over the past month or couple months or so, she has tried, like I mentioned, that cringe ad that was supposed to be an overture to male voters. She also rolled out a plan specifically for Black men because she is struggling among Black men. Just to give you an idea, she's hovering about 70% support among Black males. Now, to give you a point of comparison, Biden was polling at about 90% among Black males. So that's a huge, huge, huge drop. She has alienated Black men, white men, and men of all races. So the campaign understands this, obviously. So they're trying to fix this. But I'm not sure this is going to work. So I'm just going to play this clip from Batya, and you can kind of see where she's going with this.
The real reason men of all races are so reluctant to back Harris is because her campaign is not for them. It's for women, specifically college-educated women. And this includes the messaging that's ostensibly about or featuring men. It turns out liberal women want their men LARPing in camo while voting for the party that shipped their jobs overseas to China. They want their men to be able to fix a car or at least dress like they know how to, while voting for the party that defunded vocational training. They want their men to dress like ranchers, but vote like podcasters. They want men to vote against their own economic interests in support of the future is female culture wars. I'm not saying that real men can't support women or abortion or Kamala Harris. I'm saying that the Harris campaign's failure to appeal to men has exposed an inherent contradiction in the heart of the Democrats' base of college-educated women between what women want and expect from men aesthetically or sexually, namely masculinity, competence, self-reliance, and assertiveness, and what they demand politically, submission.
Right. So Batia nailed it in that clip, right? Let's be real. Like, scolding men into supporting Harris is not going to work. And you would think that Democrats would have figured this out by now. I wrote about this when Barack Obama came out with his nonsense. Like, when he was running for president, people would just call everybody who disagreed with him racist, and that kind of worked for him. It kind of worked for him. He didn't say it himself, but his allies in the media and in the Democratic Party basically try to make it sound like anybody who disagreed with him or didn't plan to vote for him were doing so because of his skin color. They're using the same playbook with Kamala Harris, except this time they're using her skin color, her supposed blackness, and her status as a woman. They're basically just changing the labels from racist to sexist to misogynist. This is 2024, y'all. That doesn't work anymore. The fact that Trump won in 2016 should show that these strategies don't work anymore. But it's like they don't have any other playbook to use. They haven't written a new one yet, right? What's even worse is how insulting this is to men of all races. Bhatia says that telling black men that they owe their votes to Harris because she's a woman is pretty damn offensive. It's like they're basically saying, vote for her or you're a bad person. You're a bigot. You hate women. That's not how you win elections. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. Harris is lagging behind with male voters because she's not making the case for why she's the better option. It's really that simple. Instead of addressing men's concerns like jobs, the economy, public safety, crime, education, she's just recycling the same tired lines about identity politics. And honestly, it's not fooling anyone. Immigration is another issue that men are concerned about. And I know that women are concerned about the things that I just listed as well. But for men, these are at the top of the list among voter priorities, especially when it comes to the economy. Men want to provide for their families. They want to be in a position to where they can feed their wives and their kids. Or if they're single, they want to be in a position to where they can have a family that they can support. And right now, it's way harder to do that with inflation, with other economic issues, with the lack of jobs. It's way harder to do that right now than it was before. Democrats don't really want to speak to that. Kamala has kind of said a few things in that direction, but you can't really nail her down on a lot of policy because she hasn't given a whole lot. What she's been trying to do is trying to separate herself from her prior stances on the issues that were way more radical, like wanting to revamp the entire healthcare system so that the government can take it over, get rid of private insurance. She wants to, ban as many guns as she can. I mean, she won't say this, but she is calling for more restrictions on firearms, something that she has tried to mitigate by saying, oh, I'm a gun owner, so vote for me. I'm not going to take your guns. It's not working. It's not working for her. So here's the thing. And what, she's not really fooling anybody, right? If the Democrats want to have a chance to win in November, they got to stop lecturing people and start offering something of substance. But given how things are going, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Part of the problem is that Kamala Harris doesn't really have a lot of substance. She's an empty suit. She does best when she's given her talking points and she can recite those talking points without being challenged. You see how she's done in these interviews. Most of them she's done horrible. There was a few where she kind of did okay, but again, she doesn't really, there's not much there there when it comes to Kamala Harris, right? You guys understand what I'm saying here? It's kind of hard to explain, but there's just not much there. So the thing is, she does appeal more to women. As a matter of fact, when she was chosen as Biden's running mate, I even said back then, she's not being chosen to appeal to black voters. She was chosen to appeal to white women, ones that want to be able to say, yeah, I voted for the first woman president. I voted for a black woman to be the president of the United States. A lot of white left leaning women eat that stuff up, right? So it's no wonder that she's struggling with men. And I think Republicans in general tend to win over men more than Democrats in general, but her numbers are looking bad. I mean, there's a 16% difference between her and Donald Trump right now, and he's dominating her among men. Trump, for his part, has tried to reach out to women as well because he's not polling as well there. That's probably why he moderated his abortion stance. I think that's one of the main reasons why he did that. Now, I don't have the numbers as far as how he's doing with women, but I would bet that the gap isn't nearly as big as when it comes to men and how he's leading Kamala Harris with men. So to me, I mean, Kamala Harris has a lot of work to do. I mean, again, this still isn't guaranteed. There's still neck and neck in a lot of swing states, and overall, there's still neck and neck. But if Kamala Harris can't figure this part out, it's not going to look good for her, especially with black voters. She should be having way more black support than she does right now, and that's going to figure into these swing states. If those numbers hold in swing states, she's going to lose, and Trump is going to win. And it'll be interesting to see how Democrats react to that. What's going to happen is they're going to say it was foreign influence, racism, misogyny, and it will be everything except for the fact that Democrats have horrible messaging, they have horrible policy, and that's really it. So that's where it stands right now. Now, things might change. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. Again, I'm not necessarily predicting who's going to win, but if Kamala Harris loses, this is going to be one of several reasons why. So I'll leave it there for right now, and I guess we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. Thanks for coming and taking a listen and watching this. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this. Make sure you share. Also, check out my Substack at Chasing Liberty. You can get that at libertychasers.com. Become a subscriber to my Substack. Support my work. I highly appreciate it. And until next time, stay free, stay principled, and most importantly, stay ungovernable.